Today we're going to draft the dartless sleeve with no ease. The first thing we need to do is do the sleeve length, which is A to B, which is 22.5 inches long. So we're going to use a long ruler, match up our grid, make a mark that's 22.5 inches long, mark B on the bottom and A is the top. Along the A to B line is our cap height, which is at 5 3/4 of an inch. So we're going to measure down from A, 5 3/4, make a mark, that becomes C. C to D is half of the length of C to B. So we need to measure C to B. We're going to measure it, find the halfway point, and that becomes D. From D, we need to measure down 3/4 of an inch, and that becomes D apostrophe, which will end up being our elbow line. We're now going to square out from A, C, D apostrophe, and B. So we're going to use an L square, match it along those lines, and draw a horizontal line through those points. Make sure that it's at a 90-degree angle and that the L square is matched along the A to B line. Now we have to do the armhole measurement, which is 8 5/8. So from A, we're going to take our ruler and we're going to measure 8 5/8 at a diagonal till it touches the bicep line. And we're going to make a mark. From C, we're going to measure towards the left 6 3/8. And then we're going to make a mark. We're going to compare those two marks we just made and mark E in between them. Once we've completed that, we'll have C to E. C to F is the same measurement as C to E. So from C, we're going to measure to the right, and we're going to find our F point, which is equal to our C to E. We're now going to connect A to E and A to F with a straight diagonal line. We now need to divide A to E into 4 equal parts. So we're going to measure A to E, find out what that measurement is, divide it by 4, and that gives us the distance for our G, H, and K mark. Once we have our G, H, and K mark, we need to divide A to F into 4s. We're going to measure those and we're going to mark them L, M, and N. If you're struggling to divide the A to F or A to E line into 4s, take a scrap piece of paper, make sure you have a straight edge on the bottom, then fold the paper in half so those two marks match. Once you fold it in half, you'll have it into 2 sections. So you just need to fold it into 2 more sections. So you're going to fold it once, fold it again, and then you should have the 4 sections perfectly marked out. You can then use your paper to mark out the points for L, M, and N. We now need to measure the wrist length. So we're going to figure out the length between O and P. O and P is 2 inches less than C to E. So we're going to measure C to E. Subtract 2 inches from that measurement and measure out from B to O. B to P is the same length as B to O. Then we need to connect E to O and F to P. That's going to be our underarm seam. On the G mark, we're going to measure 3/8 of an inch towards the inside of the sleeve and make a mark. We're going to measure from H 1/4 of an inch towards the outside of the sleeve. And from K, 5/8 of an inch towards the outside of the sleeve. From L, we're going to measure 3/4 of an inch out. From M, we're going to measure 3/16 of an inch out. And from N, we're going to measure a 1/2 an inch towards the inside of the sleeve. Once we've completed that, we need to shape the cap line by placing the French curve, touching A, L, and M, drawing the curve past M for blending. You might have to turn the French curve a bit. Then we're going to flip the French curve, place it so it's touching F, N, and then we're going to draw a curve blending it with M. Now we're going to do the same to the other side, touching A, K, and H, drawing past H to blend, flipping our French curve, touching E and G, and blending it with the H line. Now we've completed our cap. We need to notch this, and the notches are going to help us when we construct it to match our sleeve armhole with our armhole of our bodice. So we're going to back notch. We're going to notch a 1/2 an inch above G on our curved line, and then a 1/2 inch above that for our second notch. The back sleeve and the back armhole always have 2 notches. This is helpful to know which is the front and which is the back part of the sleeve. The front notch is going to be a 1/2 an inch above N. This will only have 1 notch on the front. Make sure you label this Dartless sleeve, no ease, no seam allowance, size 10, and the year. And don't forget your grain line that'll go through the center of the sleeve.